On the farthest edge of the ocean, where cliffs met the clouds and waves sang lullabies to the moon, stood an old lighthouse. Its frame was weathered, its paint peeled, and its windows were fogged with salt and memory. Inside lived Amira, the last keeper of the lantern. Every evening, as the sun melted into the horizon, she climbed the spiral staircase, 172 steps, to the very top and lit the great golden lamp that guided ships through the storms. Her father had kept the same flame alive. He used to say, "Amira, a lantern keeper, doesn't light for herself, she lights for those who've lost their way." For years after his passing, Amira carried that lesson like a heartbeat. She lit the lamp faithfully, even when no ships came. The world had changed, trade routes shifted. The harbor below fell silent. Her village slowly emptied as families left for the city and fishermen sold their boats. Houses turned to shadows, but Amira stayed. Every dusk, she climbed those stairs. She cleaned the glass, polished the mirror, trimmed the wick, and struck the match. The light burned bright, golden, and utterly alone. Sometimes she would stand by the window, watching the waves crash, and whisper to herself, "Is anyone out there anymore?" The wind never answered. Only gulls circled above, crying into the endless blue. Years passed, the seasons forgot her. The lighthouse became her only friend, a friend that creaked and groaned, but never left. Then one night, the fog came, thick as smoke, swallowing everything in a grey silence. Amira lit the lamp as always, but that night the flame flickered weakly. The oil was running low, her supplies dwindling. She stared at the small, trembling light and whispered, "Why am I doing this anymore? No one's coming. No one needs it. No one even remembers me." Tears welled in her eyes. She turned away from the lantern, and for the first time in 10 years, she let the flame die. The tower went dark. Outside, the sea roared, but inside, the silence grew heavier. She sat by the window, staring at the black horizon, and thought of her father's hands, rough, warm, steady, as he once showed her how to care for the flame. "Light is not a job, my girl," he had said. "It's a promise." But promises felt meaningless now. What good was a light if no one saw it? Hours passed. The wind howled harder. Then suddenly, through the storm, came a faint, distant sound. A bell, then another. A desperate, rhythmic clang. Amira froze. Her heart pounded. She grabbed her spyglass and ran to the window. Through the fog, she could barely see, but there it was. A small fishing boat, tossed like a toy by the furious sea. She could hear the men shouting, but their voices vanished in the wind. Her voice cracked. "They can't see the rocks. They don't know where the cliffs are." She sprinted up the staircase, 2 steps at a time, clutching the matchbox. Her breath came in gasps, her palms slick with sweat. At the top, she fumbled to refill the lamp. Her hands trembled as she struck the match once, twice until the spark caught. The flame rose weakly, then stronger, and finally burst into lighter, golden beacon piercing through the fog like hope through despair. Down below, the fishermen saw it, a single bright star through the storm. "The lighthouse, turn, turn," shouted Rihan the captain, his voice hoarse from the salt air. They steered sharply, missing the hidden rocks by inches. The boat crashed into calmer waters, shaken but safe. Hours later, when dawn broke, the sea turned quiet again. The fishermen found their way to shore. Exhausted and shivering, they looked up at the lighthouse, its lantern still glowing like a guardian's eye. They climbed the hill and knocked on the old wooden door. Amira opened it, pale and tired, but with light in her eyes. Rihon bowed deeply. We would have died last night if not for your light. Amira's lips trembled. You saw it, saw it. We followed it like a miracle. The sea was ready to swallow us whole, but your light, it pulled us home. Tears streamed down her cheeks. For the first time in years, she smiled a real, living smile. My father used to say, no flame is ever wasted, she whispered. The fishermen stayed with her that morning. They helped her repair the lamp, refill the oil, and clean the windows. Before leaving, Rahan said, you didn't just light a lantern last night, Amira. You lit our faith again. From that day on, Amira never questioned her purpose. She kept the light burning not because she was seen, but because someone, somewhere, might need to see. Every evening, when the sky turned gold and the sea began its song, the lantern at the edge of the world shone bright against eddy, eternal and full of love. And if you ever stand by that coast on a foggy night, you might still see that flicker in the distance. A promise that even in the darkest hours, one light can change everything. Remember this. Even when you feel unseen, your effort, your light, matters more than you could ever know. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe for more tales that warm the soul. We'll see you in the next one.